You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
We've got a call. Jason from Huntsville. Jason, what you got for me?
Yeah, I'm fine with the people coming here to work. I totally understand that. But breaking the law is breaking the law. And when you talk about raising minimum wage, why don't we get people that's on welfare and government housing that's able-bodied to work to make them work?
So I'm not totally sure how those are related, but welfare in this country is, in most cases, actually there are work requirements on quite a lot of the social programs that you get for being in poverty. So, you know.
But you're talking about the corporations, laws if in their favor are breaking the law. What's the difference in people coming here illegally?
What's the difference between a multi-billion-dollar corporation breaking the law in order to keep their workers' wages low and somebody coming over here
I'm just saying
undocumented?
It's the law. You're not following the law.
What's the difference between a multi-billion-dollar corporation breaking the law to keep their workers' wages low and their working conditions poor, and a poor person fleeing from violence, poverty, and political persecution from another country and coming here to make a living and be able to have a somewhat decent life? I mean, you know, I think the difference is clear. I think that when a person in poverty who can't afford a loaf of bread, stealing a loaf of bread, I think that is, and I think if you actually even look at the Bible, there is a hierarchy of sins, right? Murdering is like way worse than lying. I think stealing a loaf of bread so that your children can eat is much less bad than a multi-billion-dollar corporation firing workers for organizing for better wages and working conditions. It doesn't even compute. Like, the difference is so vast. Do you see what I'm saying, Jason? Like, I don't understand how you don't see that difference.
And I do. I work a job and I own a small business.
Mm-hmm.
I totally, and like I said, I don't blame nobody for coming here. But the asylum law, are they not supposed to go to the closest country to them?
No, they don't have to. No, they can go to that's not something that they have to do.
So you think we can take all of them that come up here, open the border?
Can we take every refugee in the world? No, but I don't think that every refugee in the world is going to come to the United States. I think that we can take most of them that are coming, and certainly the ones that are here. If you listen to just about anybody, they're going to tell you that it just would not be feasible it would simply not be feasible to deport all the people that are living here undocumented. And so we can have a conversation about what should our immigration policy be moving forward, but the people that are here, and our economy would be completely destroyed. It would be completely destroyed if we deported all the people that are here undocumented.
I agree with that.
Right.
The people that are coming here, we need to know who they are and kind of their background, because we don't have a clue who they are.
Yeah, I think when they're coming through, they collect their information and they get their information and they have contact information so that they can set them up for a hearing at a later date for these people that are coming here and claiming asylum. And if you look at actually the return rates, one of the things that I hear on this station, in fact, all the time, is that they get their information and they never come back for a hearing. I mean, that's just a lie. Like, if you actually look at the return rates for their court hearings, it's something on the order of 80%. And if they have a lawyer, it's like 97, 98, 99% of the time they show up for their court hearings, because nobody wants to always live in fear, looking over their shoulder for ICE or for the local police. No one wants to live that way. If you can give people a right avenue, a road to go down where they're going to have legal status and legal protections, they're going to go down that road unless it is impossible. And the problem that our immigration system has is that for so many people in so many cases, it is nearly impossible, or it takes an extraordinary, inordinate amount of work to get on that road towards legal protection and legal status. And so we need to we need to open it up, make it easier, make it more streamlined, make it more accessible, more understandable, so that people do that and do it the right way. And one of the issues is that folks like me, when my family came here, my family's actually been here since before the Revolutionary War, and there were no papers there. They didn't have any papers. They just came and they showed up, and that was the way that it was until for white people until the 1930s. For white people, you could just come over here. You didn't need anything at all. There was no such, there was no federal immigration law at all for white folks. The first federal immigration law was in 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act. And so, most of us that are here, that are white, that have this heritage, we came here what would have been undocumented. And so for us to take up the ladder behind us, I think is kind of sad in my opinion. Jason, do you have any other thoughts?
No, like I said, the border just needs to be where they check them when they come in. Other than that, I don't care, but they need to be checked, and they're not all getting checked. They're not all going to checkpoints.
Right. Jason, I appreciate your call, and you'll be happy to know that they do that for virtually all of them that are coming through the border. They are checked, and especially the ones that are housed in facilities and things like that. So thank you for your call, Jason. I genuinely appreciate it. We've got Isaac from Auburn on the line. Isaac, what you got for me?
Hello, first-time caller. Happy to see my friend and union brother Adam in the studio today, so wanted to call in and hop into this conversation. First, I'll start by saying, when I listened to Attorney Robbins, I didn't hear him talk a lot about a welfare state. I heard him talk about the dignity and rights of human beings and workers. Mm-hmm. But the callers keep bringing up a welfare state. So my question is, what is this great welfare state that America has? My understanding is most of the benefits we enjoy are provided by our employers, and contingent on our employment. Mm-hmm. So I just want to hear what y'all have to say about that, and I'll take the response off the line. Thanks.
Thanks for calling, Isaac. Adam, you looked like you had something to say about that.
If anyone knows how to live a luxurious lifestyle through the American welfare state, please give us a call and let us know how we sign up. We would love those instructions. Thank you. Yeah.
I think that's it. I think most folks that if you've ever actually been unemployed, if you've ever actually had to live for an extended period of time without a job, without employment prospects, without without family helping you out, I know a lot of people that rail on handouts and stuff that get by on mommy's money. That's mom and daddy's money. And then they'll turn around and say you shouldn't be able to live because you're unemployed. And the only reason that they're alive is because of their family connections. I do think, Isaac, that it's a bit silly. Some of the way that folks talk about the welfare state in this country, because you definitely cannot live a luxurious life. You can't even live really, certainly not in Alabama. I'm not terribly familiar with the programs here in Alabama, certainly not familiar with ones in maybe more generous states like Massachusetts or California or whatever, but certainly in Alabama, if you don't have a job, you are not living large, and that is an understatement.
That's absolutely true, and I think it just goes back to that framing that we really had since Ronald Reagan and before of the quote-unquote welfare queen. Mm-hmm. And really, it's, again, one of those divide and conquer tactics among working people to get us concerned about someone lower than us who may be getting something we're not getting, as opposed to looking up at the bosses and politicians who are actually in charge.
Yeah, that really hits the nail on the head. So many of these culture war issues that you get about, like, immigrants either taking your jobs or being lazy and living completely off of your tax dollars, which seem like mutually exclusive things to me, but apparently they're not. Apparently they are both taking all of our jobs and taking all of our benefits. But, the folks that have a lot of power, that have the power to actually change things, to actually make workers' lives in this country materially better, they don't want you thinking about that. They don't want you thinking about the power that they have, and so they want you to think about, oh, this immigrant over here is maybe has this one thing that you don't, or maybe they're going to come almost to what you have or half of what you have, and you need to be concerned about that instead of being concerned about lifting the boats for every single American and immigrant in this country. It's really indicative of that divide and conquer tactic, and that's what happens in union drives. In every union drive across the country, every contract fight across the country in union workplaces, David has had to deal with this multiple times about there are certain benefits in your workplace. Now, we're not talking, we're moving off of the conversation a bit into workplace benefits, but there are certain benefits that you get from your job that are more helpful to different segments of the workforce. And so the retirement is more immediately salient to the older workforce, to the people that are above 50 or so. And so if you can offer up the workplace, the union, if you can offer them a contract that keeps retirement in place for everybody above 45, or for everybody that even works at everybody that works there at that moment, but takes it away or cuts it for everybody that comes in after 2021 or after 2022, you've got a really easy way to divide up the workforce and get the folks in the union fighting each other instead of coming together and fighting the boss for better benefits, better wages, and better working conditions for all of their coworkers, all of their sisters and brothers on the job. And so dividing and conquering is something that bosses, it's something that politicians, it's something that that media personalities do, that don't want you to think about how can I make my life better and how can I make the life for my sisters and brothers over here on the job in my community better. And so, that's really something that I think that's a really good point, Adam.
And I think that is the power of the labor movement that we have to keep in mind at all times, is the ability to bridge that divide.
Right.
Because ultimately, solidarity is not just a cliche that an injury to one is an injury to all. That is real. Mm-hmm. And solidarity really is just love expressed socially. Right? And so as we remember that what happens to that older worker fighting for retirement also impacts the younger worker fighting for maternity leave. So, the divide and conquer has been perfected over 400 years in this country. It's not going to go away anytime soon. But that is the power of labor to transcend that.
Right. And the only way for the younger workers to get good maternity leave and for the older workers to get good retirement is for the younger workers not to give when they're just offered maternity leave and say no retirement. It's for the older workers to not give when they're offered retirement with no maternity leave. If everybody understands each other's issues and we're all willing to fight for one another's issues, we can all benefit and we can all get what we need. And that's really the way to build coalitions within the workplace and within the community. We've got there are so many things that affect some and not others. Like I said, I don't have children. I don't know if my children, when I have children, if I have children, I don't know if they're going to go to Huntsville City Schools. But that doesn't mean that I get out of sales taxes that go towards education or property taxes that go towards education. I still have to pay those. And I should, because we're a community. And having good schools, even if I don't have children in them right now, it benefits me. It benefits me enormously to have the children in my community well educated, taken care of during the day, not out, causing trouble in my backyard or whatever. It benefits everybody, and the same thing with these. Circling back around to the conversation with immigrants, it benefits the community if they are making higher wages, because what happens when workers make higher wages? They are able to go spend that in their community, and they're able to spend that in their community, and that's going to increase sales taxes. That's going to help the small businesses. The small businesses, once they get more consumption, when they get more consumption, they are they're going to do better. They're going to be able to hire more workers, and so and that's something that's important to understand. And like Steven said, the $15 an hour minimum wage in Seattle, it did not there did not come the predicted job loss. In fact, in the restaurant industry, jobs grew significantly after the passage of the $15 an hour minimum wage. And so, it would be good. It would be good if farm workers were able to make $15 an hour. It would be good if they had labor protection so that they could organize for better working conditions and wages. And, if you give them the right to organize, that is going to actually... That's going to actually, it could possibly preclude the need to pass a $15 an hour minimum wage for farm workers, because if you give them the right to organize, they can fight and take it for themselves, like so many other union workers across this country have already done. And so that's really my preferred method of bringing them up, is to give them the right to organize and fight for themselves, rather than legislators in D.C. passing something from on high that gives them better wages and working conditions. Mike, we've got Mike on the line. Mike, where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm from North Alabama.
Mike from North Alabama, what you got for us? We got about 3 minutes.
All right, so man, you're talking about the illegal immigration earlier, and you're trying to compare sin and stuff to the Bible, and this is my problem kind of with people that sit in these offices. And sorry, I had a wisdom tooth pulled, so I can't really talk that well. But
no worries.
Y'all sit in the offices and don't really get down to the real world and have your feet on the ground doing the work. The illegal immigrants come over here and they destroy all communities that are already in poverty by taking the jobs. And y'all act like you're supposed to be okay with that. And then you want to compare sin and you want to bring the Bible up. Well, look, in the Bible, no sin is greater than the other.
That's not true.
That is true. In the Bible, no sin is greater than the other, man. And you sit there, it doesn't matter what you do. If you do something wrong, it's wrong, plain and simple. If you break the law, you break the law, plain and simple. And you're willing to just basically destroy America. I don't have a problem with people coming here. Just come here the right way.
Yeah. All right, Mike, thanks for the call. We've got about 2 minutes. I will respond. You said that the Bible says no sin is greater than the other, and that's just not true. It's just not true. If you do a theological survey of the scriptures, you'll be able to see that different sins are worse and they get different punishment. And if you actually come to me and you tell me that murder is the same as saying as stealing a Tootsie Roll from the grocery store, I just don't think you're a serious person. I think you're silly, frankly. I think it's silly. I think it's silly to believe that. And the Bible doesn't teach that. And, coming the right way, almost all of these people are coming the right way. Asylum is a legal international institution that these people have the right, that America has agreed to give them the right to claim. And that's the right way to do it. And, coming in and think for a second about why they work for lower wages than maybe native-born citizens do. It is because they are more easily exploited than native-born citizens because of their lack of immigration status. And so, if you fix the lack of immigration status, you fix the ease of exploitation that these workers face, and you raise wages and benefits and working conditions for everybody in the area. And that's just a fact. That's a fact. I'll be tweeting that article that I wrote a while ago on my Twitter at @JacobM_AL. Buy a hat. TheValleyLaborReport.org.
WVNN Athens. WVNN FM Trinity. A Cumulus station. It's 11 o'clock. News start.
If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week, get our snide quips about the news of the day, and see our extra midweek content, then you need to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/TheValleyLaborReport. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments that you can watch throughout the week. We also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So to see if we are on your listening platform of choice, go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We've got a website where you can buy our awesome union-made hats at thevalleylaborreport.org. And finally, if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, then consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/thevalleylaborreport.